cheetah, one of the most majestic animals known to mankind, as it stalks its prey, one of the fastest ever known, reaching 112 kilometers in only 3 seconds, faster than some of the most sports cars at the acceleration rate. Its body has heavily evolved for speed, its long legs and long spine adapts claws and grips around the tail for balance. Cheetahs, although they're fast, need something to maintain and eat to keep them alive. They are carnivores looking to get a tasty snack. As a cheetah has spotted a tasty snack, it starts to find its prey, creeping up closer and closer, then boom, it makes a go for it as it chases the gazelle faster and faster on its every move. The baby gazelle is sprinting at its full maximum speed of the velocity. It's going faster, making twists and turns. Cheetahs, the most majestic animals of all the land.
Okay, so are we on? Are we recording? Yeah. We're recording? Deep down in Africa, what you would expect to see is a lot different than what we see on Discovery Channel. From lions running after hippos and hippos eating crocodiles. It was a mysterious thing I've experienced from seeing one of the 7 wonders of the world. What I've seen in Africa was something to be remembered. I've seen elephants crossing the roads, hippopotamuses, even giraffes just walking through villages. The people there were absolutely amazing. I would go back most definitely. The food, the dances, the nature, the wildlife, it's all something to be remembered. I think people envision Africa as only being poor and not having much. And I'm here to tell you, yes, there's problems as there is in all countries, but there's a lot to see in Africa. In going there, through my journey, my whole point of going there was to help people in need. So I went and I helped build libraries for people who didn't have books. And how it works in Africa is, the teachers teach off of prior knowledge. So there's nothing to teach from. There's no material to learn from. So if the teacher only knows up to basic math, that's all you're going to learn. So I went over there and we unloaded a bunch of books, giving books to little kids, and it was a great experience in doing that. And saw a lot of kids so happy to read just the books that didn't even make sense. I saw a little 4-year-old so thrilled to read a book on girls' politics that made no sense to me, and just to see how grateful they are. There was lots of sad things I've seen, the poverty level, just going through, kids drinking water from the floor, not cleaning, drinking from a gallon that they all share at school, nobody having shoes, nothing to wear, nothing to eat, wondering when their next meal's going to come, walking 7 miles to school, there and back when you're sick, and then at lunchtime they don't even give you lunch. You got to walk back another 7 miles and go right back and forth. So for me it was a struggle to see that, and it was kind of a cultural shock, but in all, the people were great. The food, people ask me like, oh, what was the food like? What was it there to eat? Well, to be honest, there's not much to eat in Africa. What they give you is what you've got, and most of it's spices and herbs. And if you wonder why you go to every country in the world, you see that rice is so popular. The reason rice is so popular is not because it tastes good. Nobody's like, oh, rice is my favorite food. If you do, that's something quite odd. But it's what you put on top of the rice that most people like. But rice is so popular because it's cheap and it's a filler. So you see people eat that all throughout the world, and they ate that there, and that was primarily a main source of nutrition that they have. But aside from that, the nature, the wildlife, everything I've seen there, I saw elephants, I've seen giraffes walking through villages, I saw hippopotamuses, I saw a bunch of zebras, man, those zebras, they run fast there. And I've seen a lot of things that you expect to see, but again, my vision going there was like, I know what Africa's like. I've seen penguin in Madagascar, and all the stuff relating to Africa. But my hopes of going there was, I didn't really know what to expect, and I got sick there. Then when I was there, even being sick and whatnot, it was really a step back, looking to see how the hospitals were, and seeing how hard it was for people. But the one thing that was always around, whether you could afford it or not, was Coke. You can buy Coca-Cola almost anywhere. I was in a hospital because I met a friend in Africa who had broken his arm, and he broke his arm, and he was in there, and he's like, "I got to go to the hospital." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll go with you." And we were in a hospital, mind you. For some reason, we didn't have transportation, so a garbage truck drove us to the hospital. It was quite old actually, but something to remember. So we go in, and this hospital has, you know, 60, 70 people in a really small room, no bigger than the classroom, our school classroom, and all these people are laying on the floor everywhere, and they almost look like they're not moving, and there's bugs everywhere. But the odd part was that the hospital couldn't afford electricity, but they had just enough money to afford a mini fridge to carry Cokes to sell, Coca-Cola. And it was so shocking to me that Coca-Cola was everywhere, whether people could afford it or not. People would paint their houses in the colours red and white, hoping to get a sponsorship by the company Coke, of advertisement, so that they would get paid money. You know, for the most part, I'd say that, you know, I've changed dramatically. You know, I even tell my friends, I'm like, "What are you doing? Don't throw that away. Don't order something if you're not going to finish it." You know, because it's frustrating to me. And one of the first things when I got back to America, one of the first things that happened is I went out to eat with my family, and I was like, "This is old. This is really old." First of all, it's old that I have people serving me food. I just got back from killing my own chicken. I have a clip I can show you of a guy showing me kill chicken. Well, I got back from just killing my own chicken, and now, I mean, the chicken it tastes different once I killed it myself. I was thinking, oh, yeah, something's crazy. But I got back from just killing my own chicken, drinking, having to be so careful about everything I ate, washing it in bottled water, eating with my hands, and then to go sit at a place when I have a fork and a napkin and a knife, and somebody comes and they expect to get a tip after. The whole idea of eating out to me was absolutely mind-blowing, and it was definitely an eye-opener to you know, take a step back and look at how much we have. And I don't know if your parents ever said it, but I know my mom always used to tell me, she's like, "You know, some kid in Africa would love to eat that mushroom and spinach," and I used to be like, "Give it to them then, like, this stuff's horrible." But after going there, I try to not only for myself be grateful for what I have, but to kind of get other people to realize what it's like going there. So yeah, that wasn't so bad. This is Africa.